Hello everyone, I'm going to trace this beautiful girl on my light box with my true and tried and true 2B Mars Lumograph pencil on regular printer paper. So in this case I made a copy and I could trace her on the light pad instead. So she's 3/4. This is why I'm doing another demo. So she's 3/4 and again, I'm going to start with the entire shape. In this case, her hair is included. Now I'm just gonna start with this hair in a big dark shape. And then I'm going to continue the little outline. I'm gonna leave her eyelashes alone for now. So just the outline of her face, of the entire thing. So this is dark, right? I'm going to take big pencil and I'm going to say this is a big dark shape. So that way your page is immediately divided and you already have confidence that this is going to happen. She's not going to. So I'm going to start again. So we have space between her, where her hair starts, to the bridge of her nose, then down to the end of her nose and to the chin. So those are 3 similar measurements, 1, 2, and 3. So roughly, because every photograph you will see will have some kind of perspective, so these things will be slightly contorted depending on how far top of her head is from the camera and how far her chin is from the camera, because sometimes there is also a fisheye effect. So she's pretty even, I think. I'm gonna get into the space right here, anchor it in, because this is like the least defined, and I feel this is where her nose is. There is no line. I'm inventing this line to place it where I think her nose might be represented. So immediately behind that, I place this shadow that represents that eye is, that side of the head is rolling away from us. I'm going to continue this shadow, and you see her, this is her lid. It's connected to this outside line. Then I'm going to get in the corner of her eye, and you see the lower lid wraps around her eye and is tucked inside this measurement. Now the top lid covers it, and it's connected behind over there where you cannot see behind her eyelashes. So these are her eyelashes, but her lid wraps around and covers the bottom lid. I'm just drawing it out so you understand, but it's not so obvious. That's the mechanics of it. Now her iris is looking at us, so it's turned this way, and her pupil is touching the top of her top lid, right? And then the iris and the eyelashes, whatever. The top of her, like the tip of her nose, softly, then the nostril and a shadow, and there will be shadow here. Now with her lips, you could draw those big full lips, and 3/4 will be not the same on each side, right? So you have that little roll of fat for the upper lip, and then that part of her lip is foreshortened, so it's shorter than this side. So this is the corner of her mouth, top lip. Then this is the dimple underneath. Her mouth is open again. You could see her teeth, but don't draw them. So the visible line that for the lower lip rolls around this way. So it's, you see this is slightly further out than this. That means that this is covering this. So that's why this part of the lip is again in 2 parts. Remember, so one roll and the other roll. So there is a little bit of a break. And so if you imagine a line that goes, separates her face into 2, like a center line, goes that way. And the bottom lip is tucked underneath the top lip. And you could almost see how it kind of rolls. This is her chin. So this is her high cheekbone. And mark the relationship where how these things are angled. So this angle versus this angle versus that angle versus that angle. You see how space cuts in where her eye is, right? So then you could draw the eyebrow. You see the little bump for the hair, and some people have bump just even without the hair. Some don't. Wing of her nose. Here you don't, like if you draw any lines here, she will start to look old, right? If you draw smile lines, don't draw smile lines on fashion drawings ever. It will make her look like a grimace and old and unattractive, generally. Of course, if you master it, you could fantastically do it. Another eyebrow. I'm kind of shading it in the opposite direction. It should be really going this way. And again, the top lid, then the bottom lid is tucked underneath because the top lid is slightly longer. That's how you could draw it. This is slightly thicker. And that is because the eyelashes are attached there, makes it thicker. And then the top lid has this fold. In this particular case, it ends right here behind her eye. And then you draw the iris and the pupil, and this has 2 little white dots for reflections of the light. So this corner of her eyes will be slightly shaded, and there is also a shadow that goes underneath right here, underneath the lid. Okay, the bottom lid has a thickness. You could draw it here. of a shadow underneath. And yes, you could do eyelashes if you want. There is a little bit of a shadow that is happening here on top of the lid and a little bit on the bottom. And again behind the nose here, I'm gonna say a little bit, kind of, you could start tracking the shadow that continues, kind of crawling all over her face, behind there. This is usually very dark, the bottom of her upper lip, the darkness underneath her nose, upper lip, underneath the upper lip, bits of her bottom lip, underneath the bottom lip, chin, and it's another method of shading it. And yes, there is a little slight shadow here. Remember that surface underneath her high cheekbone, which is here. So there is a little bit of a shadow past the cheekbone. And you could draw in the ear. A bit of shadow there. There's a light shadow that goes from here to here. I could smudge this, came out too harsh. You could do highlights here on the bottom lip or a little highlight here on the top lip. There's a little highlight on her nose. If you're coloring it, so you would be leaving those spots blank. Or you could put a little white on it in the very end after you color everything. So let's see. So there. Kind of like that. Okay, that was 3/4 view. Thanks, bye.